What's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? You're watching the weekly spoiler alert gutter talk comic book review show where we review the previous week's comics, all the good shit that just came out this past Wednesday. We're going to talk about some, other stuff probably because we don't know how to stay on point. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo. This week is Brian Lieb.
Hey, you are correct, JD. I'm with you this week. I'm Brian Lieb.
Oh, yeah, I am on point. Also with me this week, Len.
What's up? Holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. The Bat Trouble. What's up, dog? Let's do it. Let's read some comics.
Len, we've already, here's the thing, though. We've already read the comics.
Podcast.
Oh.
Oops.
I'm behind the game. My bad.
Let me crack these books open real quick. Just give me an hour to an hour and a half, and I'll be with you.
I'll be back.
People like to watch that. People like to watch me read.
All right. So we don't have any letters to get to today, so we're going to skip that portion of the show. You should email us at cultspopgo@gmail.com. We would absolutely love that. And also, you can comment below and hang out with us and let us know what you think of this week's books and what have you. I guess we can just freaking get... Oh, we have a comment! Oh, it's Christopher Goodnight. Hey, JD, that package I was joking about going to the post office to pick up instead of waiting a day was delivered late that night anyway, so...
That's great.
Yes. He is continuing a conversation from several days ago on Facebook. Welcome to the show, Christopher.
And it's tricked you into mentioning it on the show.
He always gets me.
Related package, because then I think it would be permissible.
Yes, I believe it was. Yeah.
All right. You're such a Lieb.
I stated it earlier in the
show. Let's see. What's the book? I'll tell you, it's Batman number 105 from DC Comics. DC has this to say about it. I'm scrolling. From James Tynion IV and Carlo Pagulian, Batman battles Ghostmaker in the no-holds-barred, bloody conclusion to this epic tale. Winner takes Gotham City. And the outcome is not what you're expecting. The future of Gotham City and the fate of Clown Hunter hang in the balance. All right, so first of all, no-holds-barred, bloody conclusion. If by no holds barred bloody conclusion they mean conversation wherein everyone comes to an amicable agreement and then moves on, I guess that's accurate.
Yeah, I suppose. Yes. Yeah. And everyone had blood. I mean,
there was blood inside them, I assume.
That's true, right where it should be.
Yeah. And the outcome is not what you're expecting, especially if you're expecting a no holds barred bloody conclusion.
Well, the holds weren't barred, just nobody used them.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Right. I scrolled through real quick. You can't see it, but I was only able to find one instance of blood when Ghostmaker slashes Bruce Wayne.
Gotcha.
Batman.
There we go. Hey, there he is. So, yeah, I actually quite liked the way this wrapped up. It did not end in the way I thought it was going to, and that's what made me enjoy it so much. I'm teasing it a little bit by saying everyone came to an amicable resolution and no one was murdered. But I thought that was really cool. I don't know if I care about Ghost Hunter just yet. Apparently he's going to be part of the Bat family moving forward, which I did not expect. But I do like the fact that it was like, these are two old friends, and they were really razzing each other up for like many, many issues. And at the end, they were just like, I don't want to fight anymore. All right, let's go get a burger. I like Harley Quinn. The scene with Harley Quinn and Bao, the what's his name? Clown Hunter? Yeah, Clown Hunter. I actually liked how that wrapped up too. That she sort of just like gave a monologue and explained where she is in life and how she regrets, who she used to be when she was hanging out with the Joker and all that sort of stuff. So there was actually quite a bit of interesting dialogue for me. So I really liked how this wound up. I don't care about Ghostmaker. He's fine. His costume is just ridiculous.
Every time I see it in the past, it's like, like the one you have up on screen now. His
Moon Knight look.
Yeah,
the Moon Knight.
So much better than what he's got on now.
Yeah, it's like earlier in his career, he was like, "This is cool, but you know what I need? more fabric in the way. I really need to like push past a giant cape and a bunch of billowy pants and look at all that nonsense. What did you guys think, Brian?
I also liked it, and a lot more than I expected I was going to like it. I agree with what you said about the Harley Quinn speech and her sort of bowing to Clownhunter. Yeah, but I came by that legitimately. Like she did, she allowed him to take his vengeance, and he chose not to, and that was cool. And what an unexpected, Harley Quinn continues to be like, who would have thought that this would be this kind of character years ago? And it's a valuable kind of hero, who kind of character who wasn't good and wants to be good now and in the present. And the whole thing with Ghostmaker, that's interesting. That's that is an unexpected conclusion to this story that he and Bruce Wayne are teaming up. That's certainly not where I saw that going. And I enjoy that. And once I got past, I think we all had this problem. You get past the idea that how would you not have heard of this guy up to this point? Like yet another. But I guess, they cycle out. Who's heard of Henri Ducard recently?
Yeah, sure.
And so, yeah, it's. One thing. So he's got no money now, right? And they make a point of it at the end, and that was good. And he's building a new Batmobile. Isn't that the whole thing, that he can't just build stuff all the time? But maybe it's like I'm putting everything I have into this one, and then that's it. Is what they're setting. That's it. Yeah. Going forward. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I didn't like this book. I thought that, like much of this whole arc, is a lot of building up and building up and building up, and then this was just like this was just not. I mean, no, it doesn't end the way you expected it, but I think we could have gotten here in a more entertaining and interesting way. It is, especially because, just as Brian kind of spoke to, I think the most interesting thing that happens in this issue is the most interesting thing that has happened throughout this arc, and that is everything that is with Harley Quinn. I think her continued development as a character in this arc is really the only highlight of this arc, unless you want to say how her development is put up against, the Clown Hunter and what he goes through. And so there you have an interesting parallel lines running against one another. So they are interesting. That whole page with the two of them, her monologue, which, as monologue as it is, still felt right and true to the character, which is hard to do, especially with a character with Harley Quinn who can go speech wise, depending on how you're writing her, can go all over the place. I thought that was the most interesting thing about this entire arc. I wish it took place in the Harley Quinn book and not in this book, because I felt this book was a lot of, just a big 52 fake out. And so now,
what?
52 fake out. It basically means they pull the wool over your eyes.
Unrelated to like the new 52 or 52
right? Right. Yeah, so it's totally unrelated to that. Okay. And like the whole thing of Ghostmaker now going to be more or less like his Alfred. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess you could say that it'll be interesting to see how the rest of Batman's family, of which there are a ton of, are going to, react to that, if that actually becomes a thing outside of the book of Batman. Again, I'm not with that, because I think that kind of diminishes the role that they seem to be resetting Barbara Gordon for. So I don't like that idea either. I don't care about the character any more than JD does. I just thought this was a big, just nothing burger.
Indeed. Yeah, I agree with what you were saying earlier in that, Lynn, that I thought you were going to go a slightly different direction, but the way that the story ends could have been introduced in a much different and cooler way to get Ghostmaker into the position of critical ally of Batman. It was kind of a standard story up until this point. It was a very just regular kind of tale about something comes to Gotham, Batman deals with the thing,
Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting, just, this guy's in the past, he's in Bruce Wayne's past. All right, they retconned him into the past, whatever. I think it might have been a little bit interesting if you're going to go retcon, let's go full retcon and say Bruce, kind of remembers, hey, I used to have this dude who was my boy who used to run around with a sheet in front of his head. And that gave me kind of like an idea of my look, of how I could make myself look like a bat. I mean, something like, because that's the whole time I'm waiting for the little bit of lip service on that. If you're going to retcon, let's go full retcon. You know what I mean? So,
and he can still have his, I'll dress up as a figure. Like Ghostmaker is not he's kind of a persona, but he's not anything in particular. He just wears an outfit,
Right.
He's not a totem of any sort. He's just a guy in sheets.
Yeah.
I had messaged, because I know that Noel has not been enjoying this new run, so I messaged him as soon as I was done, and I was like, I actually quite like this last issue. And Noel said, I didn't hate it. I hate that I'm bored for 90% of an arc, and then there's an interesting cliffhanger. It's been my experience since like issue 90, so I gotta duck out. Maybe I can't enjoy it in issues anymore. I haven't cared for the art outside of Jimenez either. And boy, do I agree with that. Oh, man. The loss of Jorge Jimenez on this book is crippling. This book does not look anywhere near as good as it did during the Joker War series. Man, oof, I miss Jimenez very much.
I don't think it's bad art, though. It's just not. It's what you've had. It's what it's following. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes if it's not bad, but if you're following Jimenez or Reese, or depending on who you're coming on after, you're not going to cut it. You're not, and especially because of this arc, and many times throughout the arc, the art is changing from page to page. You know what I mean?
There's two different artists on this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, some of this art I actually like a lot. Like Harley Quinn especially is I think is very well done. But also some of the Batman shots are really good.
I really like this follow-up artist. I like this guy that I'm looking at right here.
Yes.
He looks a little bit more like Trevor Hairsine, with a little bit of Kevin Nolan in there. I really like this guy a lot. I do not like this first artist. This doesn't speak to me artistically. But yeah. Let's see, was it? Oh, Carlo Pagulian I'm not a huge fan of, I guess, but maybe Christian Duce and Alvaro Martinez. Oh, Alvaro Martinez and then Christian Duce was probably his inker. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. But, yeah, this is fine. I really, really like the Joker War storyline. This is leaving me a little bit cold, even though I do like the wrap-up of it. So, I'm not super impressed with what's happening with this book right now. It just doesn't feel like top-tier Batman,
Yeah, Noel had mentioned when they first started that the whole idea of him not having any money, we were all talking about that, but that they didn't really sell that in this arc.
At all.
Not at all. And maybe that's upcoming. Like maybe this is for some reason a transitional kind of arc where he wanted to set up this new figure and didn't spend as much effort because he throws it in there here and there that he doesn't have money. It's just not really in the story.
Yeah, I think it's more like lip service. The dialogue is saying it, even if the art is not selling it.
Yeah,
it feels a lot like when someone's walking down the street and then a panhandler comes up and he's just like, "Oh man, sorry bud, I don't have any cash on me. I gotta go." Let's move on to Black Cat #1 from Marvel Comics, and let's see. Diamond has this to say. It's from Jed McKay, C.F. Villa, Nina Vacoulier, with a cover by Pepe Larraz, who I like very much. The Cat in Black is back. Feeling lucky? Null's attack on Earth interrupts the Black Cat's latest heist, and if you know Felicia, you know that's a problem. So the Cat and her crew aim to steal something of greatest value to both Null and Earth's hope of survival. You'll have to pick up this issue to find out what. This issue guest stars the X-Men! Exclamation point. Captain America! Exclamation point. And Doctor Strange! Exclamation point. Do not miss it! 3 exclamation points.
Oh.
We did not miss it. We read it. And I thought, as far as tie-ins go to the King in Black, I was like, how are they gonna put Black Cat into this?
Yeah.
And I liked it. I actually thought this was fun. I liked that the whole beginning of it, the whole lead-in is she's like, I see. The New York is being
decimated.
Well, like
invaded?
everyone's been told to leave.
Oh, the evacuated.
Evacuated.
It's being evacuated.
Right.
So she's like, it's a perfect time to do some thieving. And then, of course, that's ill-advised, and a giant symbiote dragon comes crashing through into her heist. And then she joins the fray when they're dealing with Null and what happens there, and then the sad Doctor Strange things happen, and then she's going to steal Doctor Strange. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun.
That was a cool reveal.
Yeah. Go ahead,
yeah,
Brian.
This was the second one that I was, the second one this week that I was like, I mean, I like Black Cat.
Yeah.
I've never really been like, gotta pick up that next Black Cat issue, But I was very surprised and really enjoyed it. I probably am not going to continue with the series, but I do want to see what happens. You know what I mean? I'm interested in it, and it was a lot of fun and a great way, like you said, to include Black Cat in this. Like, how do you get her in to this kind of story? But she's Spider-Man associated, so you want her there.
Yeah,
I do think that solicitation, protests too much with, guest starring the X-Men, Captain America, and Doctor Strange. I can see, throwing a bone to Captain America, but the X-Men, I believe, are there for maybe a panel, maybe 2, because you see them and then you see them getting taken down. So, I think guest star is a bit of a stretch. And Doctor Strange, well, he becomes pretty much the MacGuffin of the book. So I'll give you that one as well. That being said, I too, like Brian, have absolutely no care for Black Cat, except when I see her very lovingly displayed at a comic book convention, because it does make for a fetching cosplay. That also being said, I will say that I do appreciate that in there trying to find some role for Black Cat in the Marvel Universe that is reminiscent of her inspiration, which is Catwoman. I mean, it's right there on the screen. They kind of have her being kind of like a little bit ambiguous, good guy, bad guy, but unlike Catwoman, she definitely tends to lean more on the bad guy or thievery side. I appreciate that. I like that. And they lean into that, and they have some fun with that in the beginning. I like. And then she stays leaned in on it from a character perspective. I like that as well. The book doesn't have her doing anything crazy. She's trying to maintain in her lane. I like that. The art was engaging and is every bit as fun as the story. I liked that. So while I don't care about Black Cat, I found myself really enjoying this comic book. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, unexpected for everyone, I think, right? It's like a surprise hit.
for sure.
Yeah, big time, and especially because also considering that this is part of an event that I too don't care a bit about either.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It made me want to, if I were inclined to continue reading this, it made me want to say, all right, how is she and her crew, who don't seem like they any more special than her, going to steal Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
And her crew.
Yeah.
Let's see how that happens. You know, that would be interesting. And how is she going to do that against this big bad terror that is Null, who, while I don't care about him either, certainly seems way above her, her punching weight. So it might prove to be a fun situation. And I can't believe it, I've read not one but 2 tie-ins to this miniseries this week. And they came out very quite surprising to me.
Yeah, same.
I agree. And they were good, this one and the other, but they're good as tie-ins too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're their own stories. I know exactly where this takes place in the other story because we read it for the other show, but you don't need to know any of that other story in order that, just like something's going down, you have Black Cat's perspective on it. She doesn't know what else is happening.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Action Figure Expert says, I want to see a team up with Hellcat, Shadowcat, White Tiger, and Tigra, and Black Panther, along with Black Cat. Just have a whole cat-themed crossover.
Excellent.
Yeah, why not? That sounds pretty fun.
I love it. Oh, and the Action Figure Expert said Merry Christmas earlier. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Action Figure Expert. Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Let's see. Yeah, that's good shit. I liked it. Let's move on to King in Black, Immortal Hulk, #1. Too many things to click. Noel's usually here helping me out. I don't know what to do. King in Black, Immortal
You're working
Hulk,
with the King in Black?
from Al Ewing and Aaron Cooter. A present for the Hulk. The Hulk is in a bad place. Half of his alters are dead or missing, including Bruce Banner, and the leader's got the rest of him on the ropes. But never let it be said that Joe Fixit doesn't know how to have a good time, and he's out to make sure this is the best holiday the Hulk's ever had. He just has to fight his way through a planet of symbiotes first. I'm sorry, Joe Fixit?
Yeah, that threw me too. And
What?
You know who Joe Fixit is.
Oh,
though,
of
right?
course. He's like the cool gray Hulk with the.
Right.
He's got the cigar and the top hat.
Suit,
Not the top hat. The fedora.
Yeah.
He was like a Las Vegas bruiser Hulk. Yeah,
Right.
I used to love that guy. Did he
So
show up in this issue?
There was something like a little while ago, and I haven't been keeping up with the Hulk, but where the Joe Fixit personality was in control, but not in the Joe Fixit body. I think it was in control of Bruce Banner's body at some point, and I wonder, and this was like a while ago. So I wonder if they were talking about personas in the solicit, like a bunch of them are gone or missing. So maybe things have been kind of shuffled up, and he is kind of a Joe Fixit. He doesn't act like Joe Fixit, though. I'll tell you that.
This is a baby. This is baby Hulk.
Yeah, and he's all gaunt. He's like not drawn in the normal Hulk way.
Yeah, he's very.
Yeah.
He's lean and sinewy.
Yeah, but to Brian, what Brian is pointing out, and it says so in the beginning, the Joe Fixit is embodied in Banner. And Banner shows up at the end, so that is still Joe Fixit's personality in the end. This was my favorite book this week.
Isn't that crazy? This was so good.
Yeah.
This was so fucking good. From it basically being a silent book, silent comic, to some absolutely breathtaking, gorgeous artwork. I mean, I could have stayed on every single page for an hour and just picked out the lovely storytelling. Like this. Look at that! But look at that, man!
The transformation from
the transformation,
Hulk or Banner, or one or the other. Yeah.
Oh my God! It's like it was gorgeous, man. This book. The art reminded me of Frank Quitely but Frank Quitely, like honestly, I thought this was a step above Frank Quitely, and Frank Quitely is a beast.
Yeah.
So that just speaks to how beautiful this art was, and the story. I was there. I don't, again, I don't care about the Hulk anymore, only because I haven't been reading it, and I know, and I can see Noel just screaming at the screen right now. I've been telling y'all for years to read Hulk. Like, yes, it is beautiful. It's breathtaking. It's fantastic. This was touching. It was funny. It was a little creepy and
there was one part I laughed
suspenseful.
out loud, like where he opens the gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I laughed out loud just at the JD showed it earlier. The face of the I guess like baby Hulk with this huge smile of joy because when he looks in the window. Look at that face.
Yeah.
Look at that face. That is a kid.
It's a little like Wallace and Gromit. You guys remember?
Yeah.
In that one, yeah, which is great.
This was wonderful.
Yeah. And another, like, a great tie-in in that it doesn't matter who these monsters are. You know what I mean? To this story. It's a tie-in to the King in Black stuff, but that is not important to this story in any way. And that was well done. And, the flow of the storytelling was so good. And a great Christmas story, which I didn't expect. We're coming up on that holiday times. We're in the holiday time, but I didn't think we were going to read anything like that. And this was unexpectedly, because it's not marketed as a Christmas story. It's a King in Black tie-in.
Yeah.
Right.
And just really, really well done, and falls into, there's Christmas stories that are good because you're in the holiday spirit. And then some are just like really good stories in addition to that, like, tie-in, holiday specials or what have you. And this falls in that latter category.
Yeah, and it's not all just cutesy. The Hulk comes across this, Wanamaker's type building with a department store, and he finds mechanics, which is like building blocks and stuff, and there's a display for that, and the Hulk has a moment of self-reflection, and he has a memory of Bruce Banner getting his ass beat on Christmas morning while he's trying to play with these this toy, and then Bruce Banner's dad smacking on his mom, and that causes like a very visceral reaction to this version of the Hulk, and it's quite lovely, and that's what causes him to change back into Banner. But just the art on this, the storytelling, the pacing, the fact that there's not, I don't think, a single word in this entire book.
Yeah.
Just expertly crafted, really well done comic booking. I was absolutely, this is one of those things that I picked up off the shelf, and I was like, ugh, I wonder what's going on with the Immortal Hulk. I haven't read this in a while. It's a King in Black tie-in. It's one issue. Why would I possibly care about this?
Right.
Like Len said, this is probably one of the best books of the week. This was wonderful.
Yeah. It's a great final page, too.
Oh,
right?
God.
Yeah. Oh, you know what, guys? I didn't realize, JD, until you were saying a Wanamaker type store, it's called Mantlow's, which I knew sounded familiar, but I thought it was a real store until I just now thought Bill Mantlo, who introduced Rocket Raccoon in the pages of the Hulk, and that's the only thing I know of him. But I think he was a Hulk writer. Yeah,
I don't know the name. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Bill Mantlo is a historic name from the 70s in the comics as a writer, and if I remember correctly, Bill Mantlo is also a comic creator who, unfortunately, had, I think, like either an accident or a disease that really like crippled him. And a lot of people over the years have been working very hard to raise money for his health care and stuff like that. So, and a name that is purposefully kept alive in the annals of comics since then, especially by Marvel.
When the first Guardians movie came out, there was a big push because it was like this character that he created is now in a very profitable movie, and he's in a hospital, or in medical care, having a lot of difficulty affording that, like at that time. And money was raised, which is
yeah.
And can I say something about this? Is more like Hulk centric. I find it interesting when the Hulk has banner memories.
Mm.
You know, it's not something I think about that often, but in the very deep comic sense, I like it. It's cool.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, that they're in the same body with the same brain.
Yeah, and they're fissioned from that young child is definitely the turn that it has taken in the last several decades.
I'm not a huge Hulk head. I only dip in here and there when something interesting is happening. Where did this come from? This trauma of Hulk's dad beating him and his mother, being a survivor of abuse. That seemed to just show up sort of maybe in the 90s, maybe with...
I think maybe around that time. Might have been late 80s. It was during Peter David's run.
Peter David, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And he had 8 million issue run on the Hulk.
Yeah, he had a long run.
Yeah.
I have two of his omnibuses up there. The Peter
sweet.
David Hulk omnibuses.
Yeah. It's good, really good stuff. That was some of my earliest Hulk, and there's one cover that I still recall. It's they had variants of it, like a solid green cover with a silhouette of the Hulk was this major issue that I had, and that's where that stuff all came from. I don't think anything like that was done before. It was just, Bruce Banner was a decent guy who got caught in this nuclear thing, and I would not decent guy, but no particular psychological issues, and and then they started going in, and I think Peter David did there may have been multiple personalities before the accident, and then they were given form by that, but that part might have been a later writer.
Gotcha.
No, I think that was Peter David.
Was that Tim? Peter David? Okay, yeah.
David. Yeah, I mean, he was on there for years.
So, yeah.
I think using the Hulk as a metaphor for child abuse and having, before the gamma radiation even got a hold of him, he had a monster brewing inside of him from the fallout of that. I think it's that's what comic books are for. That's the whole reason they exist in my eyes, is to delve into stuff like that using characters. Yeah,
it's one of those things that you can't it's not original to the Hulk, and some people might be like, oh, I prefer the Hulk in a different style, but it's so good and it fits so well for what you can do with that character that now that it's here, it's indelible, you know? Yeah.
Sure. Let's move on to Post Americana #1 from Image Comics. Is that Image? Yeah, Image Comics by Steve. I always say Steve Skroce. Is it? How do you guys say his name?
Wait, hang on. How is it spelled?
I always say Steve Scroce, but I know that's wrong.
Should be Scroce, yeah, like Croce, the singer and basketball person. Well, two different people.
Then it always reminds me of that line from Back to the Future 2. You don't got the scrote. She grabs him by the balls. You don't got the scrote.
I forgot about that.
Anyway,
did he have the scrote? Did it turn out that way?
He did in fact have the scrote later on.
Okay.
From Maestro's creator, We Stand on Guard co-creator, and the Matrix storyboard artist, Steve Skroce, with coloring by Eisner Award-winning Dave Stewart. The Cheyenne Mountain installation, a.k.a. The Bubble, is the most sophisticated super bunker in the world. It was built to ensure the survival of America's executive branch of government and its most important citizens, should the unthinkable happen. When the world ended, the executive branch failed to reach the sanctuary, but the elite citizenry did. 80 years later, one of their own has named himself the new President of the United States. His plan? Subjugate the survivors of the American wasteland using the same bunker resources meant to rebuild it. The only thing standing in their way is a deadly wasteland girl hellbent on revenge. This was fine. I was really excited to see more Steve Skroce because I liked his work. He did some Spider-Man work back in the day. He worked for the Big Two, and I always liked him. And then he went and did the storyboards for the Matrix, and I remember buying the art of the Matrix and really liking his storyboards and all that sort of stuff. Him and Jeff Darrow have a very similar sensibility, and they both worked on the Matrix at the same time.
Wait, the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they were the storyboard artists. And they would I remember Jeff Darrow had created the designs for the what were those things? The octopus robots?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was just fine. It reminded me a little bit of Garth Ennis's writing, and I guess some of the things I don't like about Garth Ennis's writing.
Mm.
It's an interesting story. I think the ideas are there, but I think.
What do you mean by it? What do you mean in that it reminded you of his writing, specifically what you don't like?
Let's be as gross as we can, just for giggles. Which works sometimes for some stories, but not all the time for all stories. And this had elements of that. And I just was like, all right, oh, you got cannibals, whatever. Okay, cool. And the characters, I haven't really gotten anything from them that makes me interested in their plight.
Well, yeah, because you're dropped like right in the middle of what's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're given enough backstory or enough time with anyone in particular to really care about them. Or
you don't know who your viewpoint character is. And then the solicit makes me wonder if, because it's like, and solicits are often wrong, but it says, this woman is the only one. Mm-hmm. So is this other guy even a major part of the story? I have a feeling he is, but yeah, it's hard to, like, you don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy in the beginning, that kind of thing.
Right. So you just don't know. I mean, and the art, while it's engaging. I mean, I'm not going to, again, I don't think you can knock the art. It's good art. Mm-hmm. But I also think that you can sometimes get lost in a little bit too many details. And I think in this, I got lost a little bit, or maybe it was like detail overload and I just didn't care. It didn't drive my eye necessarily in one way or another. I've seen kind of this type of tale. It also doesn't help that I'm recently started rereading Rick Remender's Fear Agent, which is kind of in a little bit in this same vein, only 10,000 times better. So I'm reading this. I'm like, this is like some warmed over Fear Agent. I just want to go back to read my second collection of Fear Agent. It's just like, I'm good with this post-Americana shit.
Actually, to answer your question a little bit better, edgelord is the phrase that comes to mind. Edgelordy, like, aren't we just edgy for no reason?
Can you believe someone would do it?
Here's a character named the Flying Fuck.
Right. Yeah.
Although at first I thought that was the name of a plane, and either way, like, I did kind of dig that. I don't give a flying fuck, and he's called the Flying Fuck.
I dig that. Yeah, I saw that.
Now, I felt, as far as the art goes, I thought it was great. Reminded me of very different aspects of Frank Quitely's work.
Me too.
I thought that was interesting.
Quitely and who else did it remind me of? There's somebody else who kind of like Quitely-esque. What's his name? Chris Burnham? Is that his name? Yeah. He had a little bit of that in there too. Look at this dude. What's going up his butt? I just peeped that.
Lynn, I think you can figure out what's going up his butt.
It's stuff like this.
Machine, my friends.
It's stuff like this. It's just I don't know. It's a little. Look, it screams, "Look at me!" You know what I mean? Like, look how edgy I am.
Yeah.
Now, I found it difficult not to not Fear Agent, but we've just recently read Undiscovered Country, which is really good and a very similar kind of. I mean, in a very broad sense, they're both futuristic, just post-apocalyptic, but some crazy shit is going on.
Yeah.
America's that I think that just did it or is doing it in a much more interesting way for me. Yes. And I find it difficult not to compare this as I was reading it.
You know what that book is missing though? Kelsey Grammer.
It's a good point.
You know what? I was looking at him. It's like, he looks like somebody. I don't know. I would have never landed on Frasier, but
that's Kelsey Grammer. Look at him.
So right.
Oh, you know what? Talking about the art, we can praise this art a bunch. But one of my favorite things, My man draws Asian people who look Asian.
I'll give you that.
Look at that guy. Ah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can't knock the art.
Yeah.
You know what
So
I mean?
good.
Yeah.
And like,
It's
here's the
good.
thing. He's taking a shot at like edgelordy superhero stuff because they're watching a movie. I'm the goddamn Night Terror, and that's Don. And it's like, you're doing the same stuff here, buddy. Like you're making fun of the goddamn Batman, which you should because it's Frank Miller's Batman is ridiculous. But like, you're not doing better here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True.
I'll tell you, the chickens thing kind of that surprised me.
Yeah.
When they're like, "Oh, we got dinner taken care of," and immediately the one guy is slaughtered by these mutant chickens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, genetic modified the shit out of them to feed the population after the mass food shortages.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thank God, and then they just murder this guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they
so
don't
brutal.
have feathers, which would make sense, right? Like if
Yeah.
you were gonna modify chickens, get rid of the feathers.
I only eat things that look like testicles.
I know.
Yeah. Like not actual testicles, but as long as they bear a striking resemblance.
You never eat actual testicles. It's only things that look like them.
Look like testicles.
It's a weird thing that you do, but
we
never
don't
talk
judge
about
me. Christopher St. Saucy says, "Yeah, that's a no for me, dog." Although Undiscovered Country is good. And then Robert Palecchio says, "But he don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs."
I don't know what to do with those tossed salad and scrambled eggs. I love that.
I only eat things that look like testicles and tossed salads.
You got a theme. You got a theme, JD.
There's a definite theme happening. Oh, gross. All right, let's move on to Rorschach number 3.
Wait, JD.
JD. Oh, what? Yes, do you have a question?
I want to... No. I want to talk about Patreon.com. And why do you want to? That's my question.
I knew you had a question.
You know me better than I know myself.
If you want to help out the show and keep me in the style of food that I am accustomed, being food that looks like scrotums and tossed salads, you can go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo and help us out that way. If you don't have any money, you can just like and comment and subscribe and share the show with your friends. We are here every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. to talk about the week's books and also comic book news. We do things called Thunder Rounds during the week.
Thunder Round.
Thank you. Where we will review comic books for 60 seconds, etc., etc. Thank you so much for helping us. Everyone who is already a Patreon, I can't thank you enough. The fact that there is any money in that coming towards us in any fashion surprises the hell out of me, and it's a wonderful surprise. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let's see. What were we going to do? I forgot.
Rorschach.
Rorschach. Bam. There we go. And then I'm going to go to my notes, and we're going to say that Rorschach from DC Comics is from Tom King and Jorge Fornes. In an instant, 15 million people are dead. What happens when the human psyche is forced to accept such a devastating truth? Follow the story of The Kid, a radicalized gun-toting performer and the right-hand woman of the new Rorschach. See how this masked woman grows from an innocent child to the would-be cold-blooded assassin of a presidential candidate. This detective thriller will unravel the mysteries behind the assassination attempt and reveal how the struggles of these killers connect to larger turmoils of the world. Eisner Award-winning writer Tom King delves into the desperation that leads to radicalization and the questions that can lead a person into violence. Featuring art by new sensation Jorge Fornes with acclaimed colorist Dave Stewart. So Tom King is talking about and examining very interesting things, I think, in this series. There are, I think the second issue was dealing with something quite interesting. I think this issue is dealing with something quite interesting. It is wrapped up inside a story, a larger story that I have no emotional investment in whatsoever. I'm not sure why Rorschach is even involved in this storyline. Why it's called Rorschach. I don't care about this assassination attempt. It's just, really interesting conversations wrapped up in a larger story that I have yet to care about. What did you think, Len?
I'm enjoying it.
Great.
I'm enjoying it. This is almost like, DC Criminal Intent. Like this is like some good, like the best of Law and Order type of stuff, right? Where like ostensibly to me, when you are watching Law and Order, a crime happens, and oh my God, you don't want a crime to happen. But ultimately, it's the story, it's the detective work, and how it unravels, and how a simple murder can be reveal so much more about a person's personality, their psyche, what they've gone through. How we got to this point. That it ultimately proves so much interesting. I'm thinking about one of my favorite episodes of Law and Order. It begins with this young boy driving with his sister, and they get into an auto accident, and you think that he was shot from afar, and because there was a crime that happened afar, and he caught a stray bullet that killed him. But you realize that he actually had a heart attack, and it's because he had a bum pacemaker, and there was somebody selling bum pacemakers to all these people, and then just the envelopes just kept opening up to this bigger conspiracy. And I think in this story, using the Rorschach character in much the way that Will Eisner used to use the Spirit, or some of the better writers will use Batman sometimes in some of their stories as kind of like just something to get you in the room, to tell you something different. In this story in particular, talking about the radicalization, this girl, and how her father just totally morphs her whole mindset, and it's brought on because of what happened in 1985 in this universe, which this person and the world at this time doesn't know was a big fake out. You know what I mean? They think it was a real deal, and they've got to prepare. And so, as crazy as it is, you have to also keep in forefront in your mind that this man thinks he's doing the right thing by his daughter, by preparing her for something that you never know is what's going to happen. And I just thought it was really well done, well written, well paced. Again, I think this is a book that, as much as I'm enjoying the individual issues, I think it's going to be so much more when you read it in a collected tome.
I think the last issue that you loved, as I recall, that was much more of a single issue than this one was.
I mean, and I also think the last issue was more of the detective story, more breaking down of the actual case, and this is more of a character study, and it's right there on the page because it opens up with him kind of like reading like a notebook or a diary of this young girl. But I again just think that this was just really effective comic book writing. And do you ultimately care about the murder? No, but in some of the best forms of literature, I'm thinking of like sometimes in even the best Alfred Hitchcock movies, the murder is the MacGuffin. It's just something to get you in the room to see what else is going on, and that's how I feel about this.
Okay, yeah, I can
That's
see that.
Yeah.
I guess you're saying the same thing I'm saying. The meat of the issue is wonderful. The character study and the origin of this character, and sort of the conversation that the writer is having about survivalists, and they build bunkers, and they teach their children how to handle weapons at a very early age, and they have to protect themselves. And also, he's clearly a little mentally unhinged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a very Because at one point I go, oh, I wonder where mom is during all this. And then like the very next page is like, and that's why I had to kill your mother because she was taken over by the squid.
Yeah.
And then later on he's like, I'm currently being taken over by the squid. Kill me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff in here, but yeah, the I guess that's the problem I'm having is that larger MacGuffin assassination story I don't care about. In the meat of all of these issues are these wonderful little morsels, but then the overall meal, I'm just kind of like, all right, well, I mean, the middle of the meal is real good, but I don't really care about the beginning and end of the meal. So, Brian.
Yeah, it was good. So it is well done. It's a well done story, and the reason that I'm hesitating is that you mentioned something that I was going to either ask you about or expound upon, and I don't remember what it was. So maybe it will come to me later. I do have a question, guys. I thought it was a cool moment where the detective leaves the diner that he's been in, and the waitress, is talking about just kind of like her town when she says, "Isn't it nice? I just think it's the real America." Kind of her town and just being out in the lonely time of day outside of this diner was what I got the impression. So she is smoking something, and it looks like it's a crack pipe, but not a
Oh my God.
the kind of crack pipe that I am familiar with in the limited degree that I am. But yeah,
that's a Watchmen thing.
Okay.
There were people smoking these in the original Watchmen.
Okay.
And they do look like crack pipes.
Right?
I don't know that they're not.
I don't know that they're not either. I think they're like a future version or like an alternate version, right? Like society is okay with it version of a crack pipe.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be just tobacco or something, but like they just smoke it in these I guess it was one of those, I think, visual elements that's supposed to tell you this is a different version of the world.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's got this like glass bulb and something is in the bottom of it, but there is sort of a cigarette-y end on the one. Yeah. It's interesting, but I like that she is doing that when she's talking about with that line. I just think it's the real America. That was good.
Also, earlier, she had the little girl has a Gunga Diner T-shirt on.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, it's right there.
And this is the kind of thing. Oh, cool. And that featured in the original Watchmen as well, right?
Yeah.
This is, I think, what I was thinking of earlier when you mentioned how he is affected by this squid, and unless they don't know that it's fake, and this is the kind of thing that would happen in that world. Like this was Ozymandias's plan, basically, to terrify the world into joining together, but this would also be a part of that if you convince people that there is this imminent, powerful, unknowable threat. So with this, I think it's really good. The art is really good. I find myself being angry or when I read Tom King's work, and it's not that it's not well crafted, but I'm still upset afterward. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, the people, the worldview that he puts out. That's some good advice, JD. That we've got right now. Yeah. Just the existence of this kind of character. And there's a lot to be said for he evoked this emotion. I'm still upset at the end. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to walk around like that afterwards? And for the right story, I'll walk around like that. Yeah. Now, there was one part where he says, the dad, he's like, it's a flashback to when he's training his daughter. And he's talking about how it is fighting with a blade, right? And he says, you can't think of it like a sword. You ain't Robin Hood, right?
Yeah.
There's a sword. Of all the characters that you could pick, who is most associated with a sword? Like, that's Robin Hood. The guy with the sword.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe he had one.
I didn't even catch that. That's great.
I did think about that. I had to think for a second. I was like, Robin Hood. Okay, well, he does fight with a sword at the end of the movie. Okay.
I can fight with a sword. I'm not.
It's not where you go to with Robin Hood. Yeah. But he does. He is a good swordsman. So, yeah. But yeah, I was cool too.
I've heard of Zorro.
Yeah, I would have went. I might have went Zorro. Well, but he wouldn't have gone Zorro because
That's
Zorro
the
is
thing.
Hispanic.
If
So
Tom King did that on purpose and it's a character
Yes.
kind of moment, then I'm
Mhm.
down.
Yeah.
If he for whatever reason was like, got the sword, Robin Hood, then I'm not so down. If Tom King made that mistake.
No, I think it was a commentary on the character.
Yeah.
I remember James Joyce, we read a story which is sometimes called the greatest short story of all time. But guys, there's no aliens in it or time travel or anything, so whatever.
So it
But
can't be.
it's called, what's that, Len?
So it can't be.
Exactly. How could it even? It's about like some people in the time that he was living in. But it's called The Dead, and the woman in the beginning makes some kind of like, I was literally running my feet off, and our teacher was like, well, what's so good about this? And I was like, what are you talking about? She says, that's not literal. That can't be the case. And she was like, well, James Joyce did that on purpose to show you what kind of character that was. Yeah. Like that. That's cool. The character, would say that, even though he probably wouldn't.
I think this is a much larger conversation, but I have seen this time and time again on the internet where there are people engaging in conversations about things that they don't like within a story, and they're blaming the character, or they're blaming the writer for the thing a character is saying or doing, as if the writer is just speaking and is giving you his thoughts and opinions as opposed to writing through a character.
Right.
And I just want to be like, it's fictional characters. What are you doing? It's
right. I think
the writer does not believe in that.
Well, I think the only time that maybe people have a leg to stand on when they do that, if it is a character, especially if it's a long-running character, who has been built up in such a way that they never would say what now the writer has them saying. So then you might, that sounds like that's more the writer putting their point of view in there, because you can't have all of a sudden turn to Superman 328 and now Superman is like deaf to black people. That's not the Superman we came we know, and say that oh no, he's always been like that. Yeah.
My mother took the fabric that I was swaddled with, the Kryptonian fabric that I was swaddled with, and I came to Earth with, and she made me a clan hood with it.
Because on Krypton, they're multicolored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Krypton, clan means hope.
Yeah. See, that would be an acceptable usage, right? Then you could maybe turn it around.
Yeah.
But I would say it in a different way. There is definitely a long and good tradition of quoting fictional characters for and
I'm sorry.
Played.
Clan means hope. It's going to be on my mind for the rest of the day.
I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
We were talking about associating what the character said with the author, and there are many times when a fictional character's quote finds its way into the world, like a good thing to say. And there are many, many authors who have written things that they believe truths in their books. You know what I mean? And it can be difficult to distinguish. And a lot of it is, how is this character positioned in the story? Who are they by the end? How do they turn out, or are they shown to be good or not? But yeah, there is a lot of that. So I can see why sometimes people would be like, oh, this author believes this thing. And especially in more complex tales where the author is saying, well, we don't know who's good or not. And so maybe that's part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was recently, but someone was upset that a particular viewpoint was brought up in the confines of a story which took place in a period. It was a period piece story, and they did not like that misogyny happened. But then no one. Oh, wasn't it us? Were we talking about Miskatonic? And some of the characters were misogynistic, but then there was no repercussion from that misogyny, and it was just.
And I was worried. Oh yeah, I was worried that Hoover was being positioned as
because
maybe not great, but not that bad. You know,
because no one calls him out on it, and I was like, but it's in the time period. You know, people didn't call that stuff out back then. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
but that's a perfect example because it looked to me like the author was like, "Yay, Hoover!" You know, like good
right.
Let's get one of them again.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Superman number 28, the final Brian Michael Bendis Superman story. I can hear the fanboys on the internet cheering as we speak, because boy, man, the internet really hates Brian Michael Bendis. And art by Ivan Rice.
They don't like him. I'm sorry, they don't like him, or they haven't liked him on Superman.
Oh, anytime the name Brian Michael Bendis comes up, people come out of the woodwork to be mad about it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the Man of Steel's last stand in his final Superman tale by the superstar team of Brian Michael Bendis, Ivan Rice, and Joe Prado. Superman comes face to face with an alien race that he desperately wants to help before it's too late. As the cosmically powered race known as the Sinmar aim their deadly power at the Man of Steel's adopted planet, Superman finds himself pushed past anything he has ever faced. Well, that's not true. Get ready to experience a powerhouse moment for Superman that's been years in the making. Also not true.
2 years? Can we get 2? Is there a plural there?
What's that?
Could it be? Was it at least 2 years? Could we say?
Oh yeah, 2 years in the making. Sure, yeah. It wasn't a powerhouse moment. I thought this issue was fine. I have not read any of the Brian Michael Bendis Superman for the past 6 issues, maybe, of both Action and Superman. I'm a little behind, not because I wasn't enjoying it. I like his take on the character, but I just fell off, just the way I fall off of most things. And this issue had things that I liked about Brian Michael Bendis' writing, which are the character moments, the dialogue, the quiet moment at the end with the guitar player. It's a nice little moment that I've never seen from Superman and Lois. So that stuff I liked. I do not give a whit about the Sinmar utopian and that character and that race of beings. I understand he's doing something larger with them, but it's partially my fault for coming in at the end of that story. I read the first issue of this storyline, and then I missed all of the in between, the meat. So
and then you were lost somehow.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Oh,
lost.
I
felt like I got a full grasp of what's happening. I just didn't care about it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You say he's doing stuff with them after this? Is this like a springboard to you? Oh. Is that what you meant? That he would that the Sinmar?
No. He's telling a larger story about, I think, when, let's say, countries have a certain amount of power and the way other countries react to that. That power, and maybe an arms race way, trying to one up each other and prepare.
There was a line along those lines that I really enjoyed, and I'm scrolling through and trying to find it now. But the one Sinmar says to the Utopica, who is the villain, you were chosen to defend us from what you are doing right now.
Yeah,
it really stuck with me.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like a president I could name. But yeah, it did take me a little bit to realize that Sinmar Utopica is basically Superman. The name Superman, because Sinmar is the name of the race, man, and Utopica being Superman.
Now that's interesting.
They were just calling him the same thing. Yeah. All this stuff was just fine. I didn't really care about it. What I really did enjoy was the, what would you call them? The bookends of the podcast by Lana Lang featuring excerpts from Lois Lane's novel about Superman, and then the end with the guitar player I really liked. What did you guys think, Len?
Again, you're right. I think we do the story a bit of a disservice coming in on the end of it. Yeah. So I don't want to judge too harshly against that because I don't know what came before, right?
Yeah.
I will say though that in the character designs of the Sinmar, I don't think there is enough of a differentiation that I really I had a hard time telling who the hell was who. Yeah. And because of that, ultimately, I didn't care. And also because their color scheme kind of, definitely is mirrored in Superman himself. Sometimes the pages will become just a big mass of colors that I was just like, this is very pretty because you can't knock the art again, but I don't really know what's going on here. But I don't want to knock that too harshly. Though I do think that what is happening there, especially if this is the tying up of a story, I think there's a little bit of commentary on how important this end of the story is, that overlaid on top of it is Lana Lang and Lois Lane going on about Superman. So what are you really supposed to care about? The story or what they're saying? Because what they're saying, I don't think complements what you see happening in any way. I don't think it comments on it in any way. Yep. So it feels totally out of place.
I agree with you, Len, but I also wonder, could that have been something we missed in the story? I get hints that, Sinmar Utopica was created because they were afraid of Superman and then created essentially their fear in response to what it might be. And Superman is there for some reason and wants to help free these people. So I wonder if, and it's a big maybe, but I wonder if the Lana Lang, like, who is Superman, would resonate more if we knew the context of this fight that Superman is in.
Yeah. That's a good point, B.
Thank you.
I push back on that, however, because the Lana Lang, Lois Lane commentary, as it is, while an interesting motif to introduce here at the end of the story, and maybe it has echoes before, I don't know. But I think it is also a bit of a waste because a lot of it is just repeating the same thing. Yeah. A lot of it is one page of Lana Lang talking about how I've got this excerpt from Lois Lane, and she's going to tell us about exactly what do we need from Superman, and then turn the page, and Lois Lane reads about, well, what I realized is what I needed from Superman. I give him love. Oh, you give him love? Yes, because love is what he needs, and everyone needs love, and the love is what Superman needs. What you all need to know is that Superman is a man who loves us and needs love, and now we are given. It just kept repeating the same thing over and over again, so it wasn't getting anywhere until you get to like JD said, the end, when you have a beautiful moment between him and Lois, and them having a night out dancing to this lady's music, which is the siren's call that brings Superman home. I thought that was very well done. It was beautiful. Nice coda to, if this is Bendis' swan song off of the character, then that's a nice way to wrap it up. But that too comes out of nowhere to me in this story. I would have just as soon as just had the story wrap up, and then if you have this at the end, okay, this is Superman dealing with all that stuff, and then coming home to this, and that's beautiful. I don't think the Lana Lang, Lois Lane overlay adds anything to it.
That's a great point. We have this overlay, as you say, from Lana and Lois, but nary a clue that he can hear this woman playing the guitar. Yeah. If the overlay during this entire fight were lyrics to a song, and then at the end, he goes down and says, hey, I was listening to you this entire time, and it helped bring me home. Yeah. Great. But it did feel a little disconnected, like, oh, okay, you bring me home, but we the viewer can't hear it,
right,
and have no idea that it's happening. So I think that may have helped. Like, even if you had a bit of the Lana Lois stuff in the middle or in the beginning, and then the last page of him, finishing up the battle, and it turns into lyrics, and and then we find this woman. I think that would have worked a little bit better, a little bit more cohesive. This scene that I have up on the screen where she looks at Superman, and then lovingly, and then she steps onto his boots, and then says "Mary Poppins, please," and then goes into the next page, and they're up in the
clouds,
up in the air. God damn it! That's a Superman scene, man. That is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's also I liked on the cover. I was just looking like just a little bit of the body language on the cover, how her leg is intertwined with his, and it's just a little subtle thing. It's just a little piece of intimacy that two people in love have. You know, they can share. It doesn't have to be about a kiss. It doesn't have to be about hugged up on each other. It's just that one little piece of body language that married couples share that really like got to me. I see JD's trying to pull up the cover now.
I'm trying so hard, but my computer is so slow. There we go.
Hey, video.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, the little leg loop.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Clouds are very pink. Yeah.
True.
Also, look at that freaking cape. Come on.
That's the other thing. The cape. That's not Superman's cape. I don't know what he was.
Yeah.
Superman brought that blanket.
It's not like that on the inside, and that is definitely a allowances can be made for a cover of this nature with the cape. You know, I find the Sinmar a little difficult to get through. You know, their way of speaking it's one of those interesting other culture sci-fi style or future style whatever experiments that is a good try, but it also does decrease your readability, you know?
Especially when you have this double page spread and it's all text bubbles.
Yeah. Now on that one, I thought this was difficult because the two characters are like dominating the double page spread, but there are text bubbles on both sides of them.
Yep.
So I thought they did a pretty decent job of, they've just got the one chain of word balloons has one of the little like,
tail.
Pointy, the one tail pointing towards the character on the opposite side. And it read better than it might have, doing that. But still the actual dialogue in it was tough. And as a final thing, now I kind of got the sense that Bendis is not through with Superman. He's just not on these.
Well, he's going to be taking over Justice League.
Is he? Oh, okay. It doesn't feel like the big end of a run, but they don't always, Yeah.
It feels truncated. It feels like it's just like, well, we were going to do another story next, but we were going to stop it here, and now you're going to go on to Justice League. I've been thinking in omnibuses lately and big collections, and if this is where that omnibus ends, like, all right.
I kind of got the sense too that he was moved off of it. Like,
yes,
that was the impression that I had.
But to JD's point, that if you do have the omnibus and the omnibus ends on the page with Superman and Lois Lane in the sky, that's a pretty ending.
Yeah.
So
now,
to
be fair, this isn't his final Superman. This week, Action Comics number 1028 is his final Superman story.
Okay.
So
I had seen that image online a little while ago, JD, and I didn't know what it was for. Raphael Grandpa's Superman.
Yeah.
That is outstanding. Cool, right? Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah, there's a cape.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. I like the little accents.
Yeah, it's a different kind of take. It remise me of yeah.
Look at that. He's not wearing red trunks. He's got an underlayer and then the he's wearing thigh highs.
Yeah.
It's a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nuts. It's not much better, but it's different.
It is. It's a little more sci-fi, which that kind of was in 1938. I think to a degree. It reminds me, you guys know the Silver Surfer Mobius Stan Lee thing? And then which is great, and I love Mobius. His the character portraits that he does at the end, like Iron Man, and they're not part of the story; they're just included in the collected edition. That kind of reminds me of those, like the kind of vibe of superhero in that world, kind of like. JD, what did you have up there?
Oh, it was just the Pennyworth ad.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, because that's still a thing.
I totally forgot about it.
Nobody has epics. JD, who's going to Justice League with Bendis? Have they said as far as art?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I will Google it now. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'll be curious. I was going to say, talking about depictions of Superman. I do like.
It's David Marquez.
Okay. All right. I can roll with that. I can roll with Marquez. But I was going to say I like Yvonne Reese. I do like his Superman.
Wait, Yvonne Reese? Is that how that's pronounced?
I thought so.
Oh, I thought it was Ivan Rice.
Oh, Ivan Rice.
Oh, okay. I mean, if you knew, I don't know.
Cooler.
I mean, that's pretty sweet.
That's what his wife says. But the thing I love most about his Superman is the chest, the S. He gives some dimension to. I love that he gives it like just a little bit of dimension, and I think it's just I love it. I sometimes I'll look at his art and I'm just staring at the S the whole time because he's consistent. I want to see if he's consistent from page to page, panel to panel, and he is. It's gorgeous. Probably my favorite. He may be my favorite Superman artist right now.
Oh, nice.
Yvonne Reese.
Well, he said Ivan Rice. I said Yvonne Reese.
Yeah, no, I'm asking, is that the artist you're talking about?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
He's so good. He's so good. I love him. Yeah, he's a really good Superman artist.
He was on Green Lantern for a while.
Yes.
He did Jeff Johns' run, right? Yeah.
Blackest Night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that art was great.
I think it was Yvonne Reese. I like this. Yvonne Reese. I like this. It sounds better. It flows off the tongue better. Yvonne Reese and Doug Mahnke.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Do you like David? Do you like David Marquez art?
I like. Yes. It is very good. There's.
Oh, good.
All the listen. All of the talent is there, and all of the look is there. I never look at a David Marquez layout and go, ooh.
Oh.
But okay. I do go, yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. Like there are some layouts from Yvonne Reese that I go, oh, that's nice. Look at that. That's so good.
Right.
David Marquez is very, very talented. He when he first showed up to me, he very much had a Sarah Pichelli vibe. Okay. But now Sarah Pichelli is going way, way looser with her style, and Marquez is tightening up a lot. So they're sort of going away from each other. But when they first showed up, he showed up on Ultimate Spider-Man after Sarah Pichelli left, and I barely even noticed. I was like, this looks a little different. Is Sarah doing something different? Oh, it's David Marquez. It's a whole different guy. So, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Let's move on to the final book of the week. We Live, number 3, from probably Image. Is it Image?
I believe it is Image.
Is it?
By Roy is it? Anyway, Roy Miranda, Inaki Miranda.
It's Aftershock.
Is it Aftershock? Thank you.
Luck has abandoned the group. Humbo and Alice have lost track of their newfound friends, Tala and Hototo. The siblings are being held prisoner and will soon discover that the world hides dark corners where screams of help are no more than fallen spirits. Meanwhile, time runs out for Hototo. The shuttle train to Megalopolis, Mother 9, is about to depart. I opened up this book last night and I started reading it and was like, all right, We Live. Issue 1 and issue 2 were real good. I'm real excited for issue 3, and I opened it up and I started reading it and I went, did I miss an issue? Is this issue 4? What, did I miss an entire fucking issue? How did I? And I went back and I was like, no, 1, 2, this is 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And it just felt so completely different than where we left off. that I was confused the entire time, and then by the end of it, I went, all right.
Yeah.
So I can't tell if that's my fault or if it's the storytelling. What did you
I
guys
don't
think?
think. Yeah, I remember having a similar feeling with a different experience from issue 2, where issue 2 picked up in a place that I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but it was great. This one, I also got through it quicker than I thought I would, because I still really liked it. But afterwards I was like, wait, did I somehow accidentally start on a middle page of the issue? Like, did they wind up in this situation? How did this happen? Now, part of that is just what is in this story. It's this Dr. Zeus, who is a whole other part of this world, and is involved with whatever most recent apocalypse has befallen this world.
Yeah.
The thing that turned a lot of the animals as they are, and that kind of thing. Also, really interesting that it's in the mantle of the Earth. Like, this is a thing that is on the planet already that that is transforming humanity in this way. So I think it was always bound to be a little that it's a little bit of a divergence in a very classic, like, hey, check out this villain for a minute kind of sense. But we wind up with the girl in Hototo in a situation that we were completely unfamiliar with, and that, I think, is what threw me, at least. And I assume,
no, that's what I'm talking about. I was fine with the beginning because they're like, oh, we're getting the origin story of Zeus.
Yeah.
This is great. And then we cut back to the story already in progress, and I went, this was not the story in progress. So how did we get here?
It was weird. And there was a disjointed nature to this. Like, they run into that thing in the forest. And I mean, the designs on everything continue to be great. The Dr. Zeus has got this clock thing around, this watch thing around his neck, and this thing they run into the forest is that, that motif of lit up circles and rectangles kind of thing. And it's overlaying this just like interesting philosophical kind of poetic monologue. But I don't know how it fits into the book, why it's there. But it was cool. And then the stuff that happens at the end, I didn't expect them to get there that quickly. Or for it to take another divergence, but what a divergence! That was crazy, unexpected. Just like the first issue, where you're like, "Oh, it's going along this way." Oh shit!
Yeah, the second issue. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I think the storytelling could be slightly tighter, maybe, or more. It's easier to follow. Len, what'd you think?
I saw the book in our collection to download, and I stayed true to what I announced here on the show.
You did.
That I would not be downloading and reviewing this book. Now, I was fine with y'all reviewing it. I was fine with looking at the pages. So this is my first time looking at the pages. And, fortunately, they're further enough away, so I can't really read the story. But I can tell that shit got real quick in this book. I can also tell, based on looking at it, exactly what you said, JD. That doesn't feel like, we picked up from where issue 2 left off. It definitely feels like, oh, there was a skip month or something. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe like this was something happened. Like, does y'all marvel me? Did something happen in like We Live? The side piece number 1,
journey.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because like something is wrong here. But it again, it looks beautiful. I can't wait to buy it in trade.
I don't think this will. Yeah, I don't think this will throw your or anybody's enjoyment of the book off track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think especially in trade, it'll just be part of the story that is a little unexpected. That it's a little it's the third issue. We've been introduced. We've had the thing that builds upon the introduction. Sometimes the third issue can be a little bit of a slower point, or some storytelling fractures creep in.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you're still inhabiting this world, which is a really fun and awesome looking world. and new elements get introduced, which are very awesome looking in their own ways. Like this group that you see at the end their aesthetic is not similar at all to anything we've seen before, but it's very cool. And the same with Dr. Zeus. He fits into that kind of thing. And he's got an interesting introduction. Guy who was looking for a cure and shit goes differently, kind of thing. That won't spoil much for you, Len. That could be in a solicit. No, and that scene is amazing. I stared at that for a little while. That was just on the screen. It's this star-packed sky with the silhouette of the four characters in descending order of height.
It's a gorgeous comic book. It is. I mean, and don't get me wrong. We've read some gorgeous comic books this week for different reasons. Immortal Hulk. Tom King's Rorschach is a gorgeous looking book on a totally different level. Yvonne Reese and this book. It did some pretty stuff happening in comic books today.
Yeah. And this the group at the end here with this interesting symbol too that they've got a religious kind of book with them, and they're another interesting wrinkle in the story, in what could happen in a world that has gone through an apocalypse and some people are being called to be saved from it.
Yeah, it's a cool book.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, JD. Speaking of our show, what are we up to next week, or more accurately, not up to next Sunday, and then up to late Wednesday?
That's a great question. You guys should answer yourselves because I have a customer.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Well, I'll answer your question.
Because I like to pose the questions, Len. I don't supply the info.
Well, next week, Brian, unless you fire up your headphones prematurely, next Sunday we won't be here, ladies and gentlemen. Next Sunday morning for the spoiler alert, we are going to be taking the Sunday after Christmas off, but don't fret, because we will be returning for a very special spoiler alert gutter talk mashup on Wednesday, December 30th. That's right, Wednesday, December 30th at, I believe,
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
It gets a little late.
It's getting a little late. We get a little saucy, get a little loose. Get your libations, ladies and gentlemen, because
we're going to be enjoying a Christmas cocktail or a wintry brew, I believe. And it's going to be a different kind of show. It's a little more chilling out, hanging in the comic shop or just wherever, kicking back, holiday style. Talking about, we're not going to be reviewing any books.
No,
we're just going to be talking about like stuff that came out this year or in years past, or what we're excited about for the future. We got some holiday surprises.
Yes, we do. Got some special features. Yeah. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to have drinks, ladies and gentlemen. And we are inviting you to join us Wednesday, December 30th, 9 p.m., right here on this Facebook, YouTube channel right here, Cult Pop. We are going to have a spoiler alert, gutter talk, holiday special that you will not want to miss. It's going to be so much fun. Yes. Going to be that's right, Robert Jean. We're going to be chilling out, hanging, relaxing, all cooling. Yes, right. We're going to be doing it. We're going to be doing it, most definitely.
Yes, sort of by a school, maybe. That depends on what you consider by. How close is your limit?
Yes, we read that. We saw that by Robert G. We read that to the folks, JD.
Yes. Yeah, in a Philadelphia style as well, just like him.
That's right. And all parts of Philadelphia, all of Philadelphia will be represented.
Yes.
Here on Wednesday, December 30th, 9 p.m. for the Spoiler Alert Gutter Talk Holiday Special. We are going to have so much fun. Get your drinks. If you want, get your smokes. But come out and have a good time with us, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be balling. Trust me. I'm gonna get lit.
There you go. Trust him. Tune in around 10:30. It's gonna be jumbled.
Oh Lord Jesus.
It's gonna be sloshy.
Oh my God. Wait, Josh, wait. We gonna be acting out stuff? Like I don't know what we're gonna be singing.
But I'm on a podcast, as I sometimes do anyway.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will see you Wednesday the 30th at 9 p.m.
Yes.
And that's it. We're going to get the hell out of here. You can come down to the shop, 48. What is my address? 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA. You can tweet at me at JD's Hero Complex. You can tweet at Len at the Bat Tribble. Brian Lieb, you can find at brianliebdesign.com. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. We love you, and we will talk at you later.